Hey guys, Susana here. Thank you so much for joining me. For today's video, I'm going to be doing a quick demo and sharing a mini review on the new Givenchy Prisme Libre Blushes. They released 6 shades. I picked up 2 of them. Currently, these are only available in the UK, so I did order mine from the Harrods website. I will have the links in the description box below in case anybody is interested. Unfortunately, I have no information as to when they're coming to the US, but at least for now, I have a few and we can talk about them. So let me just go ahead and read off a quick description from the Harrods site. It says here, the strength of Givenchy's Prisme Libre blush is that it is comprised of 4 complementary shades that, when blended, create an illuminating pop of color that subtly sculpts the face and adds an air of rosy youthfulness to the complexion. The loose powder format makes it incredibly buildable, whether you want a slight flush or something more dramatic. This is a loose blush. It says here it is a color enhancing, it illuminates the skin with a 12-hour long wearing formula. Now, I have been using these the past few days, and I will say that the longevity is actually pretty good. I don't know if a full 12 hours, because there is of course some wear to your makeup, there is some wear to the blushes as well, so you don't have the same intensity on the cheeks. Now, I did experience something a little bit different with each one. So I did pick up, let me actually show you guys some swatches. I picked up number 3. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of the shade, so I'm going to have the information up here, but it is described as having coral and orange tones, so this is a very bright, and I did find that this one lasted longer on my cheeks, but I think it's more so because of how bright it looked on my cheeks, and I probably went in a little bit heavier than I have with the other blush that I picked up, and this one's number 4. It's called Orange. Okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Again, it'll be up here. Let's see. This has tones of brick red and burnt sienna brown. So I have been really into blushes that have like a brownish or like tan undertone. I just really like how they look on me. Also because they don't look so, like, I'm a huge blush person. Like, I actually like to have very vibrant cheeks, but there are many times where I don't want to have my cheeks too colorful. So I find that blushes that have more of those brownish undertones are just easier for me to work with, so I knew immediately that I was going to be picking this one up. I couldn't decide on my second one. I really wanted to try one of the pink shades as well, but I kind of got cold feet, so I decided to go with this really bright kind of coral blush. But yeah, because of the shade of this, I find that I need to be a little bit more careful to not over apply because it can look a little bit dark on my cheeks, whereas this one I should also actually be careful with how much apply, because it could end up looking too just colorful and like a clown essentially on my cheeks. So with both, I do need to be careful, but I did find that the coral blush did last a little bit longer on me, where you can actually see the blush. Not to say that this blush completely went away by the end of the day, but I don't know, I hope I'm making sense of all of this. So anyway, let's talk about the packaging real quickly. The packaging is super cute. I do not have any of their loose powders to kind of compare the size. So I brought out my Huda Beauty loose powder to kind of just put side by side, just for comparing purposes. And so there is quite a difference there. I was very surprised when I saw the size of these, but when we think about it, I mean, we definitely are not going to be using the same amount of blush as we do of loose powder. So I'm not upset at it, but for some reason I was expecting a blush this big. That would have been way too much. So the cap of these is mirrored, and then it has the Givenchy logo right there. The sides of the cap is black, and then you twist it open. The one I have here is number 4. It comes with a puff, which honestly, you guys, I have not used it. I'm not planning on using this little puff. Actually, I should probably save it because I have been really liking using puffs to set my makeup. So I'll probably use it for that. But I was gonna say, I don't think that these will do a very good job at applying your blush. honestly, I just would not recommend it. So maybe put that aside, use it for other things. And then here are the blushes. So like I read, each one does come with 4 different shades, but this isn't one of those blushes that you'll really be able to customize because there is no shifter or anything in here where you can just use specific shades. You will have to just pour out all of the shades unless you're really careful and you're able to block one of these squares, but honestly that's going to be too difficult and really is meant for us to use all of these shades combined, like we're supposed to be mixing these. So overall, as far as packaging, I really like this. I do though wish that this had some kind of closure or an actual shifter in there so that, I don't know, it's just so it doesn't get messy. So for right now, I'm keeping the little sticker. We'll see how long that lasts. So let me actually see if I can do a swatch for you guys. So I'm going to put some in this palette here. So we'll do 4 on one side. And it might differ as to what shade you get depending on how you flip it over. Now, I'm not really trying to flip it over in the cap just because I feel like it's going to get dirty. Again, it's one of those things that this is what I'm doing for right now, but maybe in the future, in the near future even, I might end up doing that. I just want to refrain from it because I don't like my stuff to get all dirty, especially things like this that have so much color to them. So instead, I've just been putting it on my palette here and then just flip it over. And that right there is probably more than enough. So actually, before I fully show you guys, let me do the same thing with the other shade. This is the brighter one, number 3. And of course, the packaging is exactly the same. And that is how... How am I going to show this to you guys? I did not think this through. Okay, actually, the reason why I did this is so that I could swatch it for you guys. I was literally about to flip it. What a mess that would have caused. And I have a drink here, so that would have really been a disaster for me. So, okay, let's try to mix these so I can swatch them for you guys. Actually, thinking about this a little bit more now, it could be where you don't get the exact same shade every time because it is going to depend on how you flip it, and sometimes one shade may dispense more than the other. I guess it's just really going to depend on how we do it. Alright, so here we have shade number 4, and right now this is actually pulling a little bit plum, I think, and then here is shade number 3. Shade number 3 is showing a lot more rosy than it did coral at the moment. When I applied it on my cheeks, it showed a lot more coral. So yeah, now I'm just kind of curious. Let me see if let me pick up some more kind of randomly. It's a lot. And swatch them side by side. Okay, so there isn't too much of a difference. So this is 4 and then this here is 3 again. So yeah, I am going to try and pay more attention for the future times that I use these blushes and see if I notice a difference in shade. I'm just super curious now. But okay, let's move on to the demo. Actually, before I do, I'm going to be using my number 1 Wayne Goss brush. This is from his Edit collection. I like this one because it's a very soft and fluffy. The first time I used, actually used number 4, the first time I used that blush, I actually ended up using a brush that's a little bit more dense, and I found it a little bit more difficult to blend it out properly. Now, it could have been that I didn't really set my foundation in the outer perimeters of my face, so maybe that was an issue. Since then, I have been, because I've been leaving my house and it has been extremely hot out here, so I need to make sure that everything's nice and set, otherwise my makeup will probably just melt off of me. So just keep that in mind. If you do find that it's a little bit hard to get a nice blend out of these, it could be the brush that you're using or the fact that you didn't set your foundation. But every other time that I have used these, I have had 0 issues. So let's go ahead now and start with, well, I started picking up the darker shade that I have. So this is 4, and I'm going to apply it on this side. Oh, and these do have a scent, by the way. Definitely a fragrance scent. It's kind of like on the clean side too, but it's not too heavy. However, if you're somebody that's extremely sensitive to scented makeup, then, you know, warning, but it doesn't bother me. I actually do enjoy the scent of this. So this is actually not looking as like warm, as tannish as I remember it looking, because I actually used this one today. All right, let me see. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more there that I had, because maybe I didn't mix it well. So see, I'm kind of learning as I'm going here too. Maybe, see, because when you start explaining things, you start noticing things. At least that's what happens to me. So maybe if you actually apply it on here, because your brush will fit very nicely in this cap, it's going to mix all of the shades much better than me doing it the way that I did it. Because when I went in to start swatching, everything just kind of started spreading. So this right here is one shade, and then on this side, I hope you guys can see this, is the other shade. So it all kind of ended up moving. So it could be that I was prominently using more of one shade from each blush than another. You know what they say, you live and you learn. So that could have been that. So okay, instead of doing one cheek, I'm just gonna get my cap dirty. I just didn't want to do that, but screw it. Let's see if there's a difference. So I'm taking number 4, which I just applied. I took off the little tape from the top, and I'm going to now flip this over. Oh man, see, that's a lot. I don't need that much. And there's that. That looks so cute there. Let me try to tap some of this off though. I'm going to wipe off my brush here. I have a towel. And let's just see if there's a difference in color. Yeah, so it's definitely not pulling as pink or like plummy as this other side is. So I actually prefer this more. This doesn't look bad, but this is more towards the color that I was looking for when I purchased this one. But I still feel like it's a little bit more plummy than I had wished and that I had noticed even previously. I think I mentioned I actually used this one today, and I did kind of a simple bronzy look today. I actually really liked my look. It's not what I'm wearing right now. And so yeah, I just felt like I had a little bit more of those brownish tones. But yeah, that's how we're looking there. Let me just take whatever's left here to apply this. All right, so there we have it. This is blush number 4. This hair is driving me crazy. I used my Dyson Airwrap, and I was following a tutorial and I just totally did it wrong. So it was driving me so crazy. I'm just going to remove the blush from this side so we can go on with the other shade, because I do want to compare the two so you guys can see the difference between both. I wiped off the brush I was using. Now I'm going to pick up number 3. Again, this is the brighter orangey coral toned blush. I can smell it. I really actually like the scent of this. And let's go for it. Now I did pick up quite a bit. Right now I picked up almost everything that was on my palette here from this shade. And as you can see, a lot brighter, very much of a pop. And I'm loving it. Like, I'm so here for this. I'll obviously have to be more careful when I apply it, like to go out and live my life. It's very different when I'm filming because I want to make sure that you guys can see the shades, especially with the blush. It's sometimes a little hard to detect on camera. At least that's what I find to be the case. So that's why I always try to overbuild to show you guys, because sometimes I'm editing and I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't even see this makeup because of all the lights that I have going on. But yeah, guys, this is how it's looking. This shade I absolutely love. Out of the two, this is my favorite one because I feel like this one's more truer to its description. I still though like number 4, and like I said, if I'm doing kind of a bronzy look, I mean, this ended up looking really, really nice. But I like them both. It gives a little bit of a radiance, but it's nothing that's too much. It's definitely not going to emphasize your texture. It still has a little bit of sheeniness to it, so it just looks good. They look so good on the cheeks. Now, is this something that's like, wow, super revolutionary? No, it's not. I mean, well, it is a little bit different because it's a loose blush, and I don't believe I own any other loose blushes like this, so it's nice to have this in my collection. It is very pretty. I'm happy with them. I don't know yet if I'll still go ahead and pick up another shade. No rush. I definitely don't need any more blush in my collection, though it's not gonna stop me. But I think right now I'm just going to continue appreciating the two that I bought because I'm happy with both of them. I think they look really pretty. I would agree with the description that Givenchy provided for these blushes. Like I said, the longevity is really going to depend on how much you're applying and perhaps on which blush you're using, because I actually went a little bit heavier on this than I had been the last 2 times that I used it. So that could be a difference. Maybe next time if I apply this much, I'll find that it's going to last longer. So just keep that in mind, you know. Sometimes you kind of have to make things work for you or work for you a little bit better just by tweaking your application a little bit. My cheeks look glowy and healthy, and I am all for it. Of course, who doesn't want that? I've just really been liking these blushes. I actually feel like I'm liking them even more right now that I built them up so much, because it actually doesn't look all that crazy in person. Like, okay, especially this side, it looks a little bit crazy in person, but honestly now where I wouldn't wear it out like this, because what will happen is that the color is going to tone down just a tad bit where it would be like the perfect amount. So yeah, they're pretty, you guys. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Are you planning on picking up any of these new Prisme Libre blushes from Givenchy? I would love to know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments down below. But yeah, I like them. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I hope you enjoyed and found it informative. If you did, please do not forget to give me that thumbs up. And if you have not yet, subscribe to my channel so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time.